Hey everybody, welcome to episode 8 of Basement Sports Talk. Tonight we're going to be talking some Louisville, Kentucky trash talk. Some Zion Williamson news popped up this week that we got to discuss. And there's a list came out a couple days ago about the top 25 coaches. We're going to do the top 15, and we got two not so honorable mentions we're going to discuss. Ty, I'll start with you. How have you been doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just getting by, staying safe, staying healthy.
Right. Chris, you got a haircut this past week. Let's see what that looks like.
Yeah, I got it cut, and I feel like I got the JV team that cut it. The lady, she was risking her life. I got it. I still gave her a good tip. I don't know why. It works. At least I guess Tennessee's open for business. I'm self-quarantining now for 14 days by protocol. Yeah.
You got your robe on, so you're doing it right.
That's right. Yeah.
Damon, how have you been?
Doing well, man. Been working on the pool outside a little bit, getting it ready for Lou to come over for a little volleyball match. But no, things are good, my man.
Good. Now, so things on Twitter got a little heated yesterday. Boy Watkins out of Louisville, but he made some comment about the receivers at Kentucky not being real receivers, not having a receiver role, and our boys popped back. Chris, summarize that for us. What we got going on?
Yeah, so basically Isaiah Watkins, he was a former Kentucky commit actually. It was committed to us for a while. Basically tweeted out, basically it stinks to go to a school where you're not a real receiver and all you do is block. And I think that was a shot at DeKel Crowdis, who recently committed to Kentucky, four-star kid out of Frederick Douglass. So I think that was kind of a shot. And boy, did it get a response. We got Lynn Bowden tweeting at him, calling them losers. You got people posting videos of him in a UK camp, and he does a little out route, literally, gets the ball delivered to his hands, and it goes about 3 rows up through his hands. So there was a lot of Twitter beef going on back and forth. I think some local radio personalities got involved. So, what it tells me is people are ready for some football.
Yeah, I saw the video, and at that point I was happy the kid didn't sign with us. Lynn Bowden reached out, and he had some words for Mr. Watkins. Do you think Lynn Bowden being a LA Raider, or as I was Las Vegas Raider now, do you think that was inappropriate, or do you think he has every right to say something?
I mean, he is – me personally, I think he's got every right to say something. What he said there at the end with the video of all his stats and wrote losers at the end, that pretty much made the statement and sealed the deal.
Yeah, that was funny. Then Damien, I don't know, Kel Crowder, he ended up tweeting out L's down forever or something to that nature, and then he ended up doing a interview just outlining why he would never even consider Louisville even going there. Do you think that hurts the Louisville recruiting trail, and are they going to fire those kids up when they go to Louisville?
No, man. I think he owned it. I love it. It's part of the rivalry. Man, Stoops and the guys, they own the state right now, and they're not done. I mean, they've got a couple more kids from in-state that are coming. When you can back it up with numbers and the recruits, and Louisville's not even mentioned, it's a good day to be a Cat.
I think these guys get that attitude from Vince and Mark and Eddie. I think the coaches really – I don't think they want their players to be inappropriate, but I also don't think they really mind these guys having a chip in their shoulders. And as long as they're being clean and, lighthearted on Twitter, no harm, no foul, I think they like to see that grit. And I know that can really fire up. Talking about grit – Chris, I don't know if you saw Justin Rogers tweeted out that some of the nature of I never sat on the bench in high school. And he tweeted at Coach Stoops, said, "I'm coming." And he Coach Stoops.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's a big statement. The kid was, the top-ranked kid out of Michigan, to steal him out of Big Ten country and from Michigan's a big pickup. I think that says either he's got a cocky streak that is good, or he better be willing to back it up. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I like that in somebody coming in. I don't think it's bravado just to be talking. I think he believes that he can come here, and I think he knows he's going to put in the work, but I think he's ready to come in here and do. And let's face it, that's a deep defensive line he's walking into. Guys that are going to be pros. Quentin Bohanna, those guys are going to be pros. So him coming in here talking that stuff, it gets me pumped up.
Now, Damien, when I see that, even if the kid doesn't get a starting job, I think as long as his behavior, let's say he doesn't get a starting job, as long as he's not toxic, he's out there working for that starting job, even if he falls short, that's making everyone around him better. I think that ends up benefiting everyone on that line and the team as a whole.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I have no doubt he's going to have the work ethic. He got some swagger to him. I think he's willing to back it up, and he knows he's coming into a team that has, like Chris said, a defensive line, has a lot of talent. He's not going to back down, though. You got to like that as a kid coming in, but I do not see him as a cancer at all. I think if he doesn't start, but he's going to be fine with that. He's definitely going to be productive this year, though, as a freshman.
Yeah, Kentucky, obviously, we've had a couple guys in the transfer portal headed out to school at East Tennessee State, but we got some really good additions these past 2 weeks. And I think Stoops and the guys have a lot to look forward to.
What really impresses me about, for example, the Crowders kid right here out of Lexington, 5 years ago, this Kentucky football program, I don't even think we even mentioned, on this kid's list. And now it just goes to show you where our football program's headed in the right direction, definitely. You got to give a pat on the back to the recruiting guys and our team, man.
They're getting ready to pull another kid from Frederick Douglass, too. I believe the Jager Burton. I think they'll grab him, too. And, he's a top offensive lineman, rated top player in the state of Kentucky and recruited by everybody. I really feel that he'll come along, and that'll I think we're 29th in the rankings right now as far as recruiting, and that'll bring us up again. But that Frederick Douglass team, I tell you what, I hope we can go to some football games this fall because that team's got, I think, 5 or 6 kids that are D1 offers. I'd like to see them play.
Yeah,
we were trying to go to the game.
His right now his Twitter header is a picture of him from his UK visit wearing the uniform, and I'm sure DeKelly's going to be pushing hard for him to come. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know the kid's name; it's slipping my mind. But there's a recruit out of Texas. He just named his top 4. And it was Kentucky, Clemson, Bama, and maybe Texas and Oklahoma on there. And just to see Kentucky's logo, he doesn't pick Kentucky, just seeing their logo with those names, it has to get you excited. But speaking of recruiting, we're going to switch for a second. Zion Williamson has found himself in a lawsuit that I don't think he's necessarily could predict would end up to the point that it is now. Basically, y'all can chime in whenever you want to if you know more about it. But basically, my understanding, he had got a agency, and then he ended up signing with another agency, and he wanted out of it, so he filed a lawsuit asking for, I think, like $100 million to get out of this agency. So they countersued. And a lady named Gina Ford, her lawsuit's going for the jugular. And she's basically trying to prove that Zion Williamson does not meet the criteria of a student athlete. I think that's what she needs to win in court. So now she's trying to claim that he's not a student athlete due to the fact that he took money, endorsements, and possibly, I think, a family may have acquired a car as time at Duke, and they're looking at holding Coach K, some other individuals, and for questioning. Chris, I'll start with you. What do you think of that? Are you surprised by that?
I mean, no. I think Zion Williamson's name came up, during the Adidas trial. I think it came up, in connection with some of the money towards, when he's possibly going to Kansas. What is surprising is, and it was brought up today, I think in some national media, is had he gone to Kentucky and the same thing was alleged, it would be on CBS, it'd be on ABC, because John Calipari was associated with it. I think the connection with Coach K makes it a little bit of a quandary for the NCAA because he seems to be the golden child when it comes to that. But in my assumption, I think what will happen is Zion Williamson will cut the check because he doesn't want to answer some of those questions that were asked of him.
Yeah, I don't see it. Ty, is there any doubt in your mind at all that he benefited from going to Duke? Is there any question?
I mean, man, put it like this. For him going to Duke, something had to be involved. I mean, it's just, I honestly feel like they're going to have to dig deep. They're going to have to get more proof, more evidence. We'll get Coach K involved. They're definitely going to go back and try to get more proof and evidence, try to catch Coach K in lies. I don't know where this is going to go, but I agree. I think, what is it, $200 million at stake? Is that right?
Yeah, he sued for $100 million initially. I don't know what it all ended up getting turned around on, but yeah, it's up there. And I'll leave this open for any of you guys. I remember when he was getting recruited, and when it came down to the decision, I was in Charleston at a hockey game. I was watching it on ESPN at a bar outside the hockey arena. And when I remember, I was torn that he was going to pick Clemson. And we thought Clemson and Kentucky were the two. I think Clemson started to pull ahead. But Duke's name got on the table there late. Got more prominence late. And then out of nowhere, he picked Duke. I remember being shocked. And I was in South Carolina watching that. And there's a lot of Clemson fans there who they were saying that it was, bogus from the start. So I'd be interested to see if, that is the reason. It all makes more sense as it gets cleared up. But back to your point, Calipari doesn't get the same respect as Coach K. I think the stuff with Camby and then parlaying that Derrick Rose and not stuff that's necessarily Calipari's fault, but stuff that fell on his radar has forever tainted. And I think the fact that he's just so good at what he does is getting these five-star recruits and having this amazing talent. These guys in the NBA, I think that slime factor inevitably follows him, and it's going to be hard to shake that. Damian, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. His reputation is not going away. The media in general still doesn't like Cal for the most part. There's some that have it. They're on his side, but you have the Pat Forties, Goodmans of the world that are very loud and vocal. And anytime something's brought up, Calipari is just conveniently mentioned. It gets old, but I'll be honest with the Zion thing. I'll be shocked if anything comes out of it. Like Chris said, money talks. He'll pay. Coach K will pay whoever. Coach K is not going on trial and saying anything under an oath. It's just not going to happen. It's not the way it works.
No, he's one of the untouchables for sure.
So here's the thing, though. I think the NCAA right now, as far as Committee on Infractions, they got their back against the wall. They got programs like Louisville that committed an offense, level 1 offense, while on probation. Kansas, LSU, waiting in the background. These are big programs. Are they going to take a stand? What do y'all think is going to come of that? Are they going to take – you think LSU will be the one to get burnt out of the whole deal just because they got to burn somebody?
Will Wade, people aren't really – I was talking to some LSU fans, and they're not even concerned about Will Wade. They said that something would happen by now, something serious was going to happen. And it's business as usual down there in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, they got Will Wade, Sean Miller. Sorry about that, Ty. They've got Wade Miller and Sean Miller on wiretap. Nothing's going to happen, man. I'm telling you, it's shady. Admittedly, but Louisville, when they got their championship taken down, they admitted their faults, and they came with them. They came with them with a hammer. They got rid of everybody. Nobody's going to admit to anything. Bill Self is a golden child. 5 major infractions. Nothing's going to come out of it.
I can't believe that LSU and honestly Auburn, them two schools right there, definitely. I don't know.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl. There's some chatter on the plains about stuff that's been going on him in his program. I don't know the full extent of it. I know that their name did get brought up and all that. But.
And if I'm not mistaken, all three of us said we'd like to have Bruce Pearl as one of our possible replacements, didn't we?
Yeah. He can coach. We hired Calipari fresh off the ACT scandal and all that. So, but
take a chance on anybody.
Bruce Pearl had a cookout. I mean, you can't have a cookout with the guys.
You not lie about it.
What?
You can't lie about it. That's
I
the
know
thing.
you want people to know that when you have your cookout. So what if you didn't invite, one of his neighbors, and he didn't want his neighbor to find out he had the cookout, and then that caused animosity at the HOA?
I got it. He might have cooked. Might not have cooked the brisket properly or something.
Yeah, he might have had a bad night on the grill, and he just doesn't want. He doesn't need all that. He's probably sweating. I'm sure it was hot.
I'm sure you're sweating for sure.
I mean, you got to think if it's at least 75 to 85 degrees out, you got the grill in your face, you got the hot coals. You're sweating. Probably some embarrassing photos. You don't need that out there. You can coach.
But I mean, we got. Here's the thing. I'm just saying, I'm going to go against the grain with you guys on this. The NCAA is going to hammer somebody. I really believe that, one of these top schools, because they know, truthfully, this is probably their last chance to have any power. Because once this being able to do their name and all that stuff goes into effect, it's a wrap after that.
Oh, well, yeah, with their likeness, the individual likeness.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I can see Kansas getting some major penalties. I can see LSU major penalties, Arizona.
I thought it would have happened by now.
No, I don't know that it has.
There's no way.
I'm just telling you, mark my word.
Because, what's the reason you think they're actually going to come after them this time?
Like I said, I think they realize that this is the point where they've already lost control. I mean, go ahead and hammer them to at least show something that maybe going into this new system of you have to declare, how much money you're getting on financial records and stuff like that. At least that may give them the illusion that they're going to have some teeth when it comes to holding some of these programs accountable.
Will Wade, last SEC tournament, he had to sit out their last game or two, and they had to set up the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but that was just from his athletic director. I don't think it had anything to do with the NCAA.
Yeah, that's admitting guilt, though.
And then he coached. So he had all summer, all offseason. He coached this season. The HBO show came out with the recording, and you're not hearing any chatter about it.
So, Chris, since you're the against the grain guy on this, of all the programs involved right now, with all the scandals going on, who would you personally prefer they hammer?
Prefer?
Yeah, if you just had your choice.
I really want to pile on Louisville, but at this point, they've got rid of everybody that was involved when that happened. So I guess Kansas. That's our next none of the other schools really kind of, come to our club. I think honestly, the two probably dirtiest programs are Kansas and Arizona.
Arizona's being dirty right now, not even getting any good results out of it.
Yeah, they don't even matter, honestly.
Yeah. But so probably Kansas.
I just think it's very telling that Kansas was involved in all the investigation through Adidas and everything else. And last year's Midnight Madness, whatever they call it there, they have Snoop Dogg out there with strippers. They kind of stuck their finger up at NCAA and said, come get it. And they're not going to.
I tell you what, mark this, episode 8, Basement Sports Talk. Mark it down. I'm going to be right on this.
And if you're not, if
you're not, if I'm not on episode 10, I'll take my hat off.
Oh no, the people want the hat.
No, we like the hat. We can't look at the hair, bud.
Let me ask you: if say us and the guys, we got tickets to Midnight Madness, and we're down there, and Snoop Dogg comes out with his dog mascot with the marijuana blunt and the strippers. How long before Mitch Barnhart is on that court and having a heart attack or a stroke before you can even say anything?
He has a heart attack getting out of the seat.
Honey, Mitch Barnhart had the electric cut. He would cut him.
That top button would have popped off.
He would have been airing it. It just went black screen. He would have pulled out everything.
To me, that's just very telling that major programs don't care what the NCAA says.
But if Kentucky did that, people would probably be camping out starting next month.
We knew about it.
Yeah, they knew about it.
At least when we had a rapper. At least he came and got in the layup line and shooting threes and
airball.
He literally looked like me at a last second heave trying to win a contest or something.
He airballed that three in the warm-up.
It's like he pulled a hammy shooting there from 3-point line.
He's helped. You know how much he's helped Kentucky recruiting, though. I mean, we don't know. We can't statistically put a number on it, but he's helped break in the locker room for these guys.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
I think he's helped. He wrote a song about Kentucky Blue on these personnel, and that's all you hear. That every time you go to the Crow, they always play it. They play every time you go to Rupp Arena. That's cool.
If you go to North Carolina, I'm sure they've got the same thing there. He's a bigger bandwagoner than anybody that I know.
I think in his early years he was good for us. Now, so we're not gonna get bogged down in basketball. It's almost football season as far as I see it, except for my KBO, KT Wiz, who are 1-6. We're supposed to one of the Dinos today, but it's time to talk some football. They released top 25 coaches not too long ago. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna read off the top 15, and then we're gonna start at 1. There's less debate, and we're gonna go way up. And we're just gonna go Ty, Chris, Damian, agree, disagree, why and why not, and we're going to get into it. So number 1, if y'all had to guess, who do you think number 1 is?
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban. 2, we got Dabo. Then we got Ed Orgeron. 4, Kirby. 5, Lincoln Riley. 6, the devil himself, James Franklin. 7, Ryan Day. 8, Dan Mullen. 9, Jimbo. 10, Brian Kelly. 11, Paul Christ. 12, Mario Cristobal. 13, Gus. 14, Fleck. Oh, wrong skip. 14, Mike Gundy. 15, Mark Stoops. 16, PJ Fleck. Okay, so that's top 16. So we'll start with Nick. Ty, you got any speed on Nick? That one home.
I mean, here's the thing about it. I mean, yeah, I guess Nick should be number 1, but how many more years has LSU got to win the whole thing for LSU coach, or Dabo should be number 1? You think?
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Dabo fan. Saban is like the lifetime achievement dude. I get it, but Dabo's not too far behind Saban currently. I mean, okay, go ahead, Chris. I see you want to say something.
No, I think Dabo's done a pretty good job. Just the G-Shucks guys that coach, just like their stick,
But are we all in agreement, though, that either way you slice it, 1-2 is Nick and Dabo?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can get on board there. But it's just like Dabo, I'm sure he's a great guy.
It's not even – who would you put in the top 2 other than those 2, Chris?
I said I agree. That's
personal opinion. We're not talking X's and O's.
Right.
No, but see, and when I went to school in South Carolina, my buddies who are USC fans, and I'd err on the side of Clemson because I don't like South USC, but they don't like Dabo, and I got in that camp too. The way he acts and carries on, if he was the coach that take the wins and losses away, just the way he acts. If he was at Louisville, for example, and we had to see him and he had to beat us every time we played, if Louisville ever got to that point ever, you'd hate him. He's the holier than thou. Like, man, it's old. It's old.
I don't love Saban either, honestly. I mean,
I love how dry he is.
He's a jerk. I mean, just because he's earned it doesn't mean you'd right to be a prune.
114-11, you have earned it.
He can't be a bigger jerk than Nick Saban. There's no way, is there?
Thank you, Ty. I agree with you 100%.
I mean, he might be a flat-out jerk, but have you not heard Nick Saban talk?
Dabo, I'm not saying he's a jerk. He's just annoying.
Nick Saban's annoying as I'll get out, if you ask me.
Go ahead,
If
Chris.
you're giving a lifetime achievement award, then yeah, it's Saban. He owns college football the last 10 years, I guess. But
Yeah, exactly. I
Dabo's
agree.
coming. Dabo's going to be here after Saban's gone. The only problem may be Dabo may end up at Alabama.
Dabo's not going to Alabama.
I hope not.
I've seen his house in Clemson. He lives like Cal Perry does. He lives in a neighborhood. I say normal, but upper class neighborhood. But he lives in a neighborhood right off the main road. Actually, you can drive on a little bypass road and see his house. He has a pool with Clemson Paul. I think he's staying for a while. And I think he's an Alabama guy, obviously, but I think he likes having his own legacy there. And he might end up at Alabama one day, but he's not going to be the next coach.
The predecessor. I agree with that.
Okay, so we can agree. Dabo and Nick, they're in a category of their own. Obviously, they're in the Final Four, and they're in one of the two is going to be in the playoff game, the championship game, regardless. So that moves us on to number 3, Ed Orgeron. Now, obviously, LSU's come off the heels of, I would presume, their best season. Granted, Joe Burrow was a lot to do with that. So that got Ed Orgeron this three spot. Do y'all think he's deserving overall as a number 3 top 25 coach in football?
Here's my quick take on this. There's out of that top 15, Ed Orgeron is he's number 1 or number 2 of coaches. Like if I was a football player that I'd want to play for, right? Like if I'm just saying, let me pick me a football guy and that's who I want to go play for, it'd probably be him and then Mark Stoops. That being said, he's been fired twice. Let's not forget he was fired at Ole Miss and fired at USC. It's not like he took over like East Carolina. He was trying to build them from the mud. I mean, even though Ole Miss and them were down and USC was down at the time,
He inherited a lot.
He did. But my thing is, if he's at – all jokes aside, if he's at Kentucky, is he in top 3?
No.
If he come off a national championship, he would be.
He would at Kentucky.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, that's why he's there, obviously. I mean, the guru that wrote this top 25, I looked at his list last year. Orgeron was 43.
That's our point.
You go from 43 to 3rd because Joe Burrow leads you to a national championship. That's how bogus this whole list is, in my opinion.
So we agree. We're turning the list into our list, Damien. So we agree that Orgeron's going to be number 3.
I don't know who you replaced him with. It's the problem. You got to put somebody there.
I don't think it'd be Ed. Let's keep looking.
Okay.
Kirby Smart.
Other than Stoops, who would you put?
Say again?
Other than Stoops, who would you have there?
Between Ed and Stoops?
Yeah.
Ed Orgeron.
So that's what I'm saying. If you don't have him 3rd, who would you have? You got to replace him.
Kirby Smart.
I'd agree with that.
More consistent, more tested and proven in recruiting on his own. Because he didn't necessarily inherit a good Georgia team. Not saying Ed got a great LSU team, but he didn't. When we beat Georgia before he got there.
Once, twice, maybe, yeah.
My sophomore year of college.
I mean, Mark Richt didn't have a terrible program, though.
No, he didn't.
No, it's consistent. I think Kirby's going to be, he's going to be there for a long time. Not saying Georgia for a long time. He's going to be one of the best coaches in football for a long time. I would take Kirby over Ed.
I know one guy Kirby couldn't get to run his offense. His name's Eddie Graham.
That's right.
That's endearing, though. Now, one of the sexier places to play college football would obviously be Oklahoma. And I think Lincoln Riley's done a good job there. Getting players in the system that he runs. Y'all think he's deserving of that top 5?
Man, I like Lincoln Riley. I really do. I've always been a big fan of him.
He was one of – I think after Neil Brown left, Mark Stoops tried to get him to be offensive coordinator. Or he was in a hunt for offensive coordinator before I think he went to Oklahoma as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't come because Mark wouldn't let him throw the ball.
Hold on now.
Easy now.
Mark has not been dealt the best hand as the quarterback situations come to.
He still wouldn't let Lincoln throw the ball if he had a
I don't believe that.
they run the ball.
So Lincoln Riley, is he at 4? I can get behind that. He's at 5.
He's 5 on the list behind Kirby and Ed Orgeron.
I would take Kirby ahead of Ed. And it's hard to drop Ed much lower considering he did just win a national championship undefeated.
Exactly.
But I think if this was like if we're looking at like a 5-year model or something, for example, I would take Kirby right now over Ed as a coach. But I would think Lincoln at 5 and maybe Orgeron at 4. I'm okay with that.
But here's the thing, like you guys said, if Ed didn't win this year, is he even in top 15?
No.
He goes like 8-4 or something.
Yeah, 8-4.
No, I mean he's top 25, but
I don't know, man. There's some pretty questionable people in his top 15, honestly.
all right, well, let's keep going, dang. Number 6 got James Franklin, and you can't get me on the James Franklin man. I hate James Franklin. I think he has the most punchable face in college football. I can't stand him. Mark Stoops beat him when he's at Penn State. I don't care about what happened in Vanderbilt. He beat him when he's at Penn State, the better team, and that helps me sleep at night. But what are y'all's thoughts on James?
What a joke.
I'll go. I'm the Big Ten whatever. I think he's terrible. I mean, I know you guys like to punch on Harbaugh a little bit, but Harbaugh's 3-1 against him. James Franklin at Penn State's 2-9 against the top 10. So he's a punching bag in my opinion.
Kentucky.
Here's what I'll say, just to make you all get your blood pressure up.
Oh my God.
I don't like the guy, and it made me so happy when he tried for that fake punt against us in that first drive, and we stopped that stuff cold.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude won at Vanderbilt too.
I don't care where he won.
Huh?
I don't care if he won at Independence Community College. I don't care.
No, I'm just saying when it comes to coaching, and he also, he did come. He took over after what's his name left for the Texans. So yeah, that Penn State was on a little bit better footing than obviously when O'Brien had him. But he still Penn State still I think got a little stigma with him. I don't like that guy, but I think he can coach football.
So you know more than I do about the SEC. By you saying he won at Vandy, what does that mean he won at Vandy?
Hold on.
Got 6 wins.
No. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to do some research real quick.
Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was like, by winning, you're saying top 4 in the East, right?
5.
Hold on.
Top 4 or 5 in the East of the SEC. I mean, winning, yeah, I guess, but.
Okay, so 2011 to 2013. In 2011, he went 6-7 at Vandy. 2012, 9-4. 2013, 9-4.
What was his 4 losses each year?
At a conference, and then probably cupcake. Or no, 9. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, I'm just going to take the 2012 season.
Okay.
All right. They finished that year ranked 28th. All right. Hold on, gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties, of course. Let's see here. They lost to South Carolina, lost to Northwestern, lost to Georgia, and lost to Florida. They beat Auburn, Missouri, Massachusetts, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Wake Forest, North Carolina State.
I wouldn't say they're quality wins. We'd have to dissect the records of all these guys in 2012.
What's that?
And we'd have to dissect all those guys' records in 2012 to know how good.
Yeah, like what was Auburn doing in 2012? I know Tennessee wasn't great, but
Let's see what Auburn was. I mean, that's a good point, but
that was before the kick six. I don't even think they were good when they had the kick six. So Was who's the coach? Yeah, who's the coach before Gus? Is Gene Chisholm? Hizik still there?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, that was post Cam Newton. They were like going like 6-6 every year.
Auburn was 3-9 that year.
Yeah, Auburn was 3-9 that year. So okay.
Yeah, James Franklin was the coach. I'm just giving you a hard time, Chris. I just don't like the guy.
No, I get it. I can't stand him. I'm just saying.
He's not the sixth best coach in college football, I hope.
Ooh. Go ahead, Ty. What do you got?
Exactly. There's 3 guys behind him in the top 10 that I would put any one of them up there before him. And you do a blind draw, and you just randomly pick one, and then I promise you they will be better.
Sorry about that. Ty, go ahead and give us your take on James Franklin, please.
You know, James Franklin coming in to, what do you guys say, number 6?
Yep.
You know, I would think there's the rest of 3 guys still in the top 10. I think you could take a blind draw out of any other than those 3 guys, and they would be better than who they got James Franklin up there as. You know, I think you got Jimbo, you got Mullen there, and Ohio State's coach. Was it Day? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I think any 3 of those guys would definitely be better than Franklin for sure, man.
Yeah. So going to Ryan Day, Damien, you probably know more about him than we do. What's your thoughts on him?
I think as far as Ohio State, they made the right hire. I mean, he was in the system, offensive coordinator. But, man, he's been there 1 year. He was gifted Justin Fields, Dobbins, and the Chase Young, is that his name, from Ohio State. So, yeah, he was hand-gifted a loaded team. Now, we'll see what he does. I think he can kill on the recruiting trail, but he's not going to have that talent every year. He'll have elite talent, but, man, he had 3 legit superstars at the college level. Of course, he's still got Justin Fields this year, and after that, we'll see how it plays out.
Now, the man at number 8, I have strong opinions about. And I hate to see him on the sideline. I hate when they show his face. I hate the way he carries himself on the sideline. I hate his visors. I hate everything about his get-up. But Dan Mullen at number 8, I probably got to agree with that. Ty, Chris, what do y'all think about it?
Yeah, that's one guy. When he got that Florida job, it kind of scared me to death, to be honest with you. Because I was hoping Florida would make another crazy hire and continue the trend of not getting people that fit, after Urban Meyer left. But I think they knocked it out of the park with Dan Mullen. Honestly, I could see them. I think this year they're going to be tough. I really do. And also I can see him continuing to just continue to build that program. My guess is when the next 3 years they'll be in the Final Four easy.
What do you think about them chomping boys in Gainesville?
Man, I agree with Chris. This year they're really going to be tough. I hope we can give them a good game, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Coach Mullen, I think he's a really good coach, honestly.
Now he's 21-5 at Florida. Does it make you happy that one of those 5 is from Kentucky, or does it make you sad that the number's not 6? 2 of the 6 are from Kentucky.
I'm not going to be greedy. I mean, it should have been 6. Honestly, we were probably, when you look at it, we should have beat them. If we'd had Terry Wilson, I think we'd have mollywopped them, to be quite honest with you.
Besides Georgia, I think we're the toughest team he plays these last 2 years.
I don't disagree with that.
He's run for his money these past 2 years. Besides Georgia, would be us. What do you think about that, Ty?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And the year that we was screaming from section 29, the guy's wide open, the receiver, and of course the blown coverage there could have been another W for us. But
sticking in the SEC, number 9, Jimbo Fisher. He leaves Florida State, gets this job. I don't think his first year was necessarily super successful, but he's kind of getting his groove under him. What do you think about Jimbo at number 9? Anybody?
Okay, I mean, I think he's a good coach. I think he going to the SEC West. I know he got paid well, but if he ever wanted to win an international title, he probably should have stayed in the ACC, in my opinion. He's like, I think already he's one of 4 active coaches with a national championship in college football right now.
Yeah, I think and Coach Stoops comes from his tree. I think he's going to be in the running. Like Damian said, I think had he stayed at Florida State, I think he'd had a more opportunities to play for a national title. I think it's just one of those things that he kind of, I don't know what to say, wore out his welcome there, but my guess is I don't know how much he likes the recruiting when it comes to college football. And I think maybe he looked at Texas as basically a hot, even though Florida is too. So, but, he couldn't pass up the money either. It's just perplexes me. That Bryce, I know you've been to Florida State Stadium and so that I just don't know why anybody would not want to coach there.
Yeah, I think coaching. The talent in Texas, obviously, in Florida too. Well, Texas, Florida, Ohio, 3 hotbeds, maybe Georgia, like good places to recruit. Florida State, though, a lot of history. And he was – I know he lost a lot of guys and stuff was down, but he was Bobby Bowden. he had the chance to stay there long term and to be in Bobby Bowden and Jimbo Fisher is what he was building. He could have maintained that momentum. The number 10, right now, top 10 is Brian Kelly. He's a little bit of a dark horse. He's 33-6 at Notre Dame. Had a 12-0 finish 2 years back. Lost to Clemson. You don't think of Notre Dame a lot. What's your thoughts on him, Damien?
Well, I think he's a good coach, I guess. I don't know that 2012 and 2013, NCAA took all his wins for those 2 seasons because obviously they were allegedly cheating. So his record's not great as it probably should be considered once you take those wins away. But he's good. Top 10 maybe. I don't love the dude, but he wins wherever he goes. So I'm whatever.
I'll tell you what, too, those dudes got a tough schedule this year. Have you taken a look at their schedule?
Oh, yeah.
So they got they opened up with Navy, which Navy is a top 25 program. Western Michigan, that's a throwaway game. They got Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Louisville, Arkansas, Wake Forest, Stanford, Duke, Georgia Tech, and USC. For them, I know they got to play 4 games from the ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got a comparable schedule to anybody else that's in a Power 5 conference, I think.
I just think they should have to join the conference.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and I don't know that they ever will. I wish they would. I don't know. What did you see?
NBC money talks, man.
Yeah.
I
Do
got
you
a
think they
question
would
for
join
you
the
guys.
ACC if they were made to join one?
I think NBC is hurting Notre Dame. I just kind of jumped in right there.
Who? NBC?
Yeah.
Why?
I think they need to be part of a conference.
No. Yeah. I'd still like to play
Is
them.
that a cold take?
No, I think we all agree they should be in a conference, but I don't think that NBC that money's hurting them any. They have a better chance of getting to a Final Four or however you want to call it without being in a conference, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true, Damien.
You're not going to put them in any of the Power 5 conferences, and they're not going to be favored to win any of them unless maybe the Pac-12.
I'd still like to play them over Louisville every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be a game. 11, we got Paul Kreis out of Wisconsin. Personally, I'm not super familiar with Wisconsin football. I know they're usually floating around top 25 somewhere. Damon, you got any encounters with this guy?
No, he's a fine coach. He was offensive coordinator there before, so he's a Wisconsin guy. He's got a record. I looked it up. It's almost identical to Jim Harbaugh at Michigan during their tenure, so he's fine.
12, Mario Cristobal at Oregon. I don't really understand that at 12.
Yeah, I think that's a bad. I mean, he had a top draft pick in a quarterback this year at Oregon, and he was fired from FIU. I get it that that's not a top tier program. He's an offensive line guy, so I don't understand that how he's rated so high. I don't know what he's done to warrant that. I mean, heck, you could argue Coach Stoops has done more than that guy has.
Yeah. 13, a guy who can't even sit down, his seat's so hot, Gus Malzahn. He's at Auburn. They got high expectations. They obviously have a horrid schedule every year. You got to go through the West. But and the guy's on the hot seat, and everyone's calling the Paul Feinbaum trying to fire this guy every year. And yet here he is at number 13 on the top 25 list. Do you think his past success and his – I feel like the Iron Bowls now are a little more competitive. You don't know who's going to win, even if Auburn's not ranked and Alabama's up there 1, 2, 3. I don't know, they ranked number 8 when they played them last. But what do you think about Gus at 13?
I like him. I think he's a good coach. I think, like you kind of alluded to, Auburn fan base may not be the most realistic when it comes to that. I know Billman close parameters to Alabama hurts him maybe, but there's no way he's not a better coach than the guy in front of him, the guy at Oregon. He's got a losing record as a career coach. So
Yeah, I agree.
This is probably a top 12 coach.
Number 14, this guy definitely has the best hair of anyone on this list, Mike Gundy. I love Mike Gundy personally. I love his personality. I want to play for a guy like that. Do you think his character and his haircut justified him 14 ranking top?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I like him for sure. I think who else would you put in there? Would you move Mark up one? I mean, really?
I mean, you could move Mark up one.
I mean,
Yeah. Go ahead,
I think Mike Gundy, like he's like him and Mike Leach. Like, could you imagine them in the same conference? Like, it has to be just I think Gundy, I'm sorry, he really cares about his kids, though. I mean, you can tell he's a guy that I think's had bigger offers too to leave there, and is just kind of an Oklahoma State type of guy. I like him there in that spot, and I think honestly, out of the top 15 so far, I agree with Damien. The biggest travesty is Cristobal. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't even know why he's in top 25.
We didn't make the list. Man of the hour, which I think him being in front of PJ Fleck at 16.
Coach Stoops and his 44-44 record. I get it.
In front of PJ Fleck, who's at 16 or 15. Mark Stoops, HBC, and Lexington. Dad, why do you think that's a good spot for him?
Here's the deal. He does have a 500 record. He took over an abysmal program that lost to a scrimmage game to EKU, by 3 touchdowns. He's turning that program around. He's one of the best. He's one of the brightest minds defensive wise, that there is in the game. And I just think, honestly, his fire that he's brought to the University of Kentucky, his ability to – he's had some bumps in the road. Let's not get it twisted. But his ability to put people in the right position, I think he does a real good job of not except -1. I think he micromanages Eddie Grant a lot, but other than that, he's real good about letting his people do what they need to do. Of course, he's always going to have a hand in the defense. I think we all know that. But I just think what he's done with our program, the national prominence he's brought us to, I think that's a great – considering what the other top 15, he should be right there. I think there's a couple people outside the top 15 that probably should be in, but you could make an argument he's right where he needs to be.
Mark's not Mark without his coordinators and his assistants. I think he has Eddie Grand handcuffed, but I think Eddie Grand is a good enough coach and man, even when he's handcuffed, and then he doesn't even have a quarterback, he's able to make it work. Which I think speaks to Eddie Grand's ability. I've stood in Kroger Stadium and cussed Eddie Grand up and down, hoping he'd leave. But he kind of won me back this year by being dealt such a poor hand and being able to make things work. But I think Mark needs to back up after the offense a little bit, personally.
I got a question for you guys. Say that Mark wins SEC East this year. How much does he move up next year?
Well, Todd, they're going to move him up probably high because he's going to be in a different program. Or he might not because he'll be in the NFL.
I mean, I
don't want to get into where's he going type conversation. I'm just saying if he wins SEC East,
yeah, he'd be offered, I'm sure, some program would offer him a dump trunk, and probably a pretty good program, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think let's get the elephant out of the room. I think the reason this top 15 was brought up was because of the coach at number 18, right?
And Coach Harbaugh at 18, I think, is a freezing cold take because I think in any list where you have James Franklin at 6 and Jim Harbaugh at 18, it loses all credibility right there. Because if you just stack Jim Harbaugh and James Franklin next to each other, you can tell me that there's, well, I'm not good at math, 12 spots in between them. I think that's ludicrous. What do you think about that, Damien?
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me there's 17 better coaches in college football than Jim Harbaugh. Not being a homer, that's just being realistic. He wins everywhere he goes. He's one of the few that have left college, went to the NFL, and actually been successful. Then he took a job at his alma mater, and he's just averaged 10 wins a year there as well. So, yeah, he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Dad, why do you think he's rated too high at 18 as far as that's too good for ranking?
No, I'm being facetious. I think he's not rated well enough. He's probably a top 10 guy. I'd probably put him in the top 10.
Put him above James Franklin?
They'd be close.
He owns him. Just saying.
I mean, so is Ohio State on Michigan.
Yeah, and I didn't say that Jim Harbaugh should be above Ryan Day. Thanks for making my point.
Hey, Damien, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Harbaugh, so the last 3 seasons he's had 10 wins, right?
He's averaged 10 wins. He hasn't won 10 every year.
Right, average. So, what's Michigan fans, what they don't like about him so bad? Is it because the Ohio State losses?
Absolutely. I mean, he's second or third highest paid coach in college football. That's a mistake. But who's giving that money back, you know? I might take it too. But, I mean, I know Chris likes to bash my dude, which is fine. But it's fine to be a homer. Maybe I am a little bit. But he's got a good record. He's got a winning record against everybody in the conference other than Ohio State, and that matters a lot there. It does. It's a rivalry game.
But
go ahead.
But, Damon, don't you think that game will eventually get him fired?
I don't know, maybe, but it's kind of like Calipari with the BBN, man. Who do you replace him with?
Kind of like Mark Stoops in Tennessee.
Well, I mean, if we're just going to be honest, you know, if I'm looking at the numbers right, Chris, Stoops since joining UK is 14-28 in conference.
Yeah, that's
10 of the 14 wins are against Vanderbilt and Missouri. So how do you consider him a better coach than Jim Harbaugh?
Because you got to look. That's like, I mean, look at the people he took over. Look at the team he took over.
Okay, you want to compare what Harbaugh inherited?
you can't. There's not even the same recruiting base, though, Damian. You can't look at what John Calipari took over from Billy Gillespie. He immediately turned over because of the recruiting base. Let's be honest. John Calipari wasn't recruiting that good at Memphis.
Do what?
John Calipari wasn't recruiting that good at Memphis, minus Derrick Rose.
He averaged 30 wins a year, though. I mean, there's a reason you can't win after him.
And look at the conference he was in.
Okay. So conference wins matter now, but with Stoops it doesn't?
All I'm saying is now
you can't have it both ways, is all I'm saying.
Kentucky and Michigan don't have the same recruiting base. You all got the national prominence. I'm not arguing that.
Okay, and they're not comparable. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why. I mean, you can't compare anything about the two programs. I get it. I mean, like I said, I'm a homer when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. I'm a homer when it comes to Calipari. It's fine for you to be a homer for Stoops and Cal. I get it. I have no issue with it at all.
Yes, I will.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying I will. I am unabashed at my homerism for Mark Stoops.
Right. Who won at Stanford before Jim Harbaugh got there?
I don't know.
Exactly. He got him to 12-1 and won the Orange Bowl last year there before he went to the NFL.
Do you have Andrew Luck on that team?
Yeah.
That probably helped a little.
So you're going to bash a guy because he can recruit, but Calipari brings in 5 kids in 1 year and he's the greatest coach? I mean, is recruiting part of college coaching, yes or no?
Yes.
Then Mark Stoops needs to get him a top caliber quarterback if you want to go to the next level.
I don't disagree. That's one thing he has missed out on.
And that's the same thing that Harbaugh's missed out at Michigan. He's not had a good quarterback at Michigan.
Yeah.
That matters, especially now with the spread offense that he's trying to run.
Yeah.
It's not going over well. I get it.
So you think with Harbaugh's average 10 wins last 3 seasons, his losses to Ohio State, and his losses in the last previous bowl games, do you think with one breakout season that all the fans will wipe that out pretty much?
Man, it's just like every other fan base. Michigan is probably comparable to Auburn, maybe. If he wants to go in the big house this year and upset Ohio State, I'll forgive him. That's the way college sports are. There's not 17 better coaches. That's why I think the whole list is kind of – of course, it's like Braxton said, it's one person's opinion. Everybody has their own opinion, but you'll never convince me Mark Stoops is a better coach than Jim Harbaugh when it comes to game of football.
He's not. But I think
Chris is biting that tongue, son.
Well, I mean, he's not. And as a Kentucky fan, if we were going 10-2 every season, we lost to Louisville every year, or if we want to go in conference, we lose to Tennessee every year, which we pretty much do now, I'd probably take it.
Yeah, I'm not. We could bounce back and forth.
I would take 10-2 and lost to Tennessee every year than 8-4, 7-5 the win against Tennessee or
right.
Yep.
So.
Just expectations, I guess. I mean, like I said, it's just high expectations. Some programs will put a statue up for 10 wins a year, and some are not satisfied with it. It's just different programs.
Mark Stoops stays here in 10 more years and averages 8 wins a season. He'll have a statue.
Michigan hasn't been relevant, though, in the last 5 to 7 years anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, it depends on what your definition of irrelevant is. 5 years ago, when Ohio State was playing for a national title, they were both 11-0 going to the last game of the year. So,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the last time that Kentucky won 11 games in a season.
I'm breaking up.
Oh, we lost them.
So when you turn the heat up on some of them, they run. I get it.
And I think you're right. I think Stoops is doing good for Kentucky.
Yep.
I appreciate Dad loving Stoops. I love Stoops. I'm happy for what he's done for Kentucky, but he's not ready for the national conversation of going against the thrones of the guys who are average. We're just not at the 10. So, like, 7 and 8 is its own thing, and then averaging 9, 10, 11. So it's like these tiers right here. 7 and 8 is a tier. 9, 10, 11 is a tier. And then your Clemson, Alabama's, you're running the table to the conference championship, 12-0. That's a tier.
Then the elite, right?
We're still in the 7 and 8 tier, and that's okay. We bang out 9 or 10 wins with a bowl win. We'll take that, but we're not in any position to start throwing jabs at a Big Ten coach who averages 10 wins and then loses. They're not losing to a 500 team. They're losing to Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sorry that. But just some final thoughts on this top 15 thing. The two coaches that I disagree with the most would be, I disagree with James Franklin the most, and the one coach that I have to agree with, but I just dislike the most is Dan Mullen, just because he is a good coach. I don't like the way he works. Ty, who's your least favorite coach on this top 15?
Least favorite?
Yeah.
I would say James Franklin.
We all agree on that?
That's my. I mean, that's what I think. When Chris gets back in here, I got a question for you guys. Or like we're going as a coaches you just named. Obviously Nick Saban, Alabama. Just say Nick Saban's at like Tennessee. Which coach would you? You know how their style of play. Which one would you like to go play for?
Between Nick Saban and who?
No, all of them. All was just mentioned.
Ed Orgeron.
What you got, Damien?
I agree with Braxton. Either Coach O or also Braxton's other pick, Mike Gundy. He's going to be a blast to play for. He's going to fight for you 100%. Dude's awesome. He's a kid's favorite. I mean, there's a reason that he stays there, and he's just a fun dude. But I will say, of the top 10, I think the one that is underrated the most in this 8 would be Dan Mullen. I think he's a top 6, 7 coach, maybe top 5.
No, he's a phenomenal coach.
I agree. I don't like him either, but he's a really good football coach.
It's just a visor in the glass. He gets
Right.
the glasses, and this is how he has his play card like this, and he squints with his glasses. I just want to take that play card, throw it, take his visor.
I mean, I think you give his coaching ability and you put him at Oklahoma, he walks straight to the Final Four every year, just like Lincoln Riley has.
That's my favorite, man. I like Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I think you're seeing a shift in college football too, where I think these coaches' personalities are going a long way, maybe a little farther than the tradition of the program. Because just the way the generation's running, I think kids really just respond to a different type of coaching. And it's possible you might see, Nick Saban's Nick Saban, but some of these older school, my way or the highway, not really personable coaches who don't have an internet presence, a Twitter presence, stuff like that, they might start hurting these guys. That's why you're seeing Cliff Kingsbury. He did a good job. He's a young dude. Obviously, he's a good kid now. But when he was in college, he's a relatable guy. People want to play for stuff like that.
Do either of you guys follow Mike Leach on Twitter?
I did.
I don't even have Twitter, Damien.
He kind of stopped tweeting though after the drama.
Yeah, I agree. But Jim Harbaugh's a little quacko. Man, he does not. I mean, Mike Leach's on a different level.
He's a hoot. He came in at number 25. I mean, I miss what Mississippi State does. 21 was Jeremy Pruitt. I'm assuming that's fully based off the recruits he's just pulled. He beats Kentucky consistently, but I think that's probably about the only consistent thing he's really done. Would y'all agree?
100% agree. And honestly, I like UK football. I really do. I don't want to sound like I'm beating them down, but if you're a K coach at Tennessee, you should beat UK consistently.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's really achieved.
No.
I don't either.
13 career wins as a head coach. But he has a heck of a recruiting class coming in.
Yeah, they're killing on the recruiting class.
Well,
do we need to send someone to check on Chris? Is he all right?
I guess no. We'll just wrap it up without him. Guys, I've enjoyed the show. Ty, you got any final thoughts for us?
Man, really, we might have to send the police department over to check on Chris. Oh, there he is. He's coming in there.
Welcome back.
Well, I had to go get Mark Stoops' contract. I'm sorry.
What do you got?
No, I'm just – let me ask you a question. We were talking about James Franklin, how he couldn't coach. Damien, hypothetical. Michigan, after Jim Harbaugh leaves to go to the NFL, right? 2 coaches they're wanting to replace him with, Mark Stoops or James Franklin. Who do you want?
Is there a C option?
No, that's it.
I mean, I'm just being real because James Franklin's been in the Big Ten. He's by no means dominated. Like I said, he's 2-9 against the top 10 since he's been at Penn State. Then you've got Mark Stoops. He's a 500 coach for his career. So Michigan's not offering that guy. I'm not being a jerk. I'm just being realistic. He's 44-44. He's not going to Michigan. He's not going. I mean, if it'll make you feel better about tonight, I'll say Mark Stoops, though.
Yeah. What was wonder what James Franklin's coaching record was before he went to Penn State?
I don't know. I'm sure I can do it. But was he anywhere before Vandy?
I don't think so, Damon.
Let me see. I'll find it.
Here, let me see. Because, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see this. I think a lot of people understand where the program was before he took over too.
But I mean, anytime there's a new coach, there's a reason there's a new coach.
Yeah.
Nobody takes over a good program with the exception of Ryan Day at Ohio State. I mean, Clemson didn't. I mean, when Dabo took over there, he didn't take over like a juggernaut by any means.
No. But wow, I didn't know this. James Franklin's got a pretty good record. He's
I know he's got a pretty good record. It's never been the argument.
Yeah, he's 69-36.
Well, Dad, we were on our closing thoughts. You got anything else for us as we wrap up here?
No, just based off the top 15 or whatever that list was that 247 put out, I think there's a lot of mistakes. But I do think Coach Stoops is a top 15 coach. That's just me personally. But I know that's not the consensus. But that's all I got.
Damien.
No, I'm not saying he's not a top 15 coach. Like we've discussed, there's a 2 or 3 in there that none of us agree with. This is totally opinionated based. But if Jim Harbaugh is 18, then I don't know. It just blows my mind that he's there. But no, I have no problem with Stoops. I think he's done a great job. But it's all opinionated, man.
No doubt. Well, this has been a fun one, guys. It's episode 8, Basic Sports Talk. This will be coming at you live on Wednesday. So I appreciate you all, and thank you all for listening. Good night.
Go Cats.